Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm reading the translation, so it seems that it's time for me to start. Thanks a lot for having me. It's a real honor. I hope you have fun and that you learn something from my presentation. I would love to see you guys. I would love to see the crowd, but I really wanted to know how many among you have heard about the AI-RAN Alliance. I hope there are many, but even though many might have heard about the Alliance, there's a lot that have not been said. So what we're doing, what the vision, the mission is, and that's the idea of my presentation. So I would obviously like to introduce myself first. I'm with Ericsson. I'm part of business area networks and work with the standards and technology department. And since the formation of the leadership positions in the Alliance, I was appointed vice chair of the technical steering committee. And I'm also vice chair of one of the working groups in the Alliance, more specifically the AI for RAN working group. I will tell you more about the organization of the Alliance in the upcoming slides, but I wanted you to know who I am before starting. Well, my goal today is very simple, as you can see in this slide. Hopefully, it will be as simple as I think, but it's to explain you the three main questions behind the Alliance. So first, why? Why do we need the AI-RAN Alliance? The second one is what? So what the Alliance will do. And third thing that I want to for you to understand after my presentation is how we will try to achieve this goal. And I will obviously try to dig a bit more deeper into the how, so what we're doing. But I will try to cover all these three aspects in principle. So let's start. Let's start with the why. I have been asked the why many times actually. Why do we need the AI-RAN Alliance? Why do we need really another organization, another body trying to treat AI among different players? And this is not this is not a simple question to answer, right? Because we already have existing organization, existing bodies that are discussing how to implement, how to standardize AI in mobile networks. I have listed three notable examples here in this slide. So we have the O-RAN Alliance, we have Telecom Infra Project, and we have 3GPP. So the first and the last, they're mostly focusing on standards, right? These are SDOs, so standards development organizations, and then they will develop specification, right? Discussions are definitely tricky in these bodies. I was with 3GPP until before joining the Alliance's efforts, so I really know how difficult it is to discuss AI when it comes to standardization, right? And then we have as well, and I see the audience now, and we also have the Telecom Infra project, for instance. But the Telecom Infra project is also trying to test interoperability based on standard-based solutions. So each of these have unique characteristic and unique approaches to dealing with AI. But are these really driving this openness, trying to really accelerate the speed on which we implement AI into RAN? Are we having like a joint effort instead of really arguing on what's the proposal that it's captured in a specification in the standard? So that's the why. The Alliance will try to address this very important question. Let's go into the what. The Alliance obviously has a vision and a mission. The vision is extremely bold. So the vision of the Alliance is to really transform telecom, transform our industry by integrating AI into RAN. And to do this, of course, it wants to drive innovation. It wants to increase the efficiency, and create some new business opportunities, right? So that's the vision. It's really, really bold. It's not something easy to achieve. And then if we have to focus on the mission, we have, or at least I like to summarize this as three main points that we want to tackle, right? So the first one, and arguably the most important one, is we really want to advance RAN. We really want to advance the radio access network performance and their capabilities, of course, through AI innovation. That's the first point. The second point is something that we already observed a lot in our industry, is that there's a huge gap between the research and what really is practically implemented in our products. So can we bridge this gap? Can we bring them together? Can we bring these two worlds that are in many ways separated together into one ecosystem, one community? And the third one is, of course, to try to accelerate this this implementation and the innovation. And here we can identify some examples. Like, we want to really optimize the way we utilize RAN. We want to create new revenue stream, new business models, and we want to think about 6G, of course. So can we use AI to boost the way in which the profitability of our RAN networks can be changed in the future? So that's the what. Let me then try to explain how we will try to achieve this. So in the first part, in the why, I mentioned a bit about the standards, right? So the first thing that it's really important to highlight is the AI-RAN Alliance. It's not a standardization organization. So we are not discussing a specification. And I already told you, it's very tricky when you have companies, when you have different organizations trying to defend their positions, trying to bring in their proposals, of course, with a huge benefit to the industry, but where ideas collide, right? So having already identified this, the AI Alliance try to steer away from standards. Let's try to avoid this kind of discussion, and let's try to build a community. Let's work together. So the Alliance will, at the end, and is really striving to focus on the practical aspects. Can we really guide the industry into ways to implement AI into RAN? Can we create blueprints? Can we benchmark algorithms? Can we test these algorithms? Can we test use cases, solutions, and then bring them to the industry in order to accelerate the adoption of these technologies in real world? And the only way to do this, as I see it, really, is to build this very diverse ecosystem, this, at the end, collaborative community. So hopefully I was able to explain in very simple words these three main questions. And what I will try to do now is try to go more into the how. So how we try to accomplish this. And to start, I wanted to highlight who's in the Alliance. The Alliance keeps on growing as of today. So the general members, this slide actually might have changed in between. I submitted these slides to the organization and today. But let's start with the founding members. This have not really changed. So as you can see, you have these very prominent leaders in our industry and as well academia that decided to found this alliance. So we can start by focusing, for instance, on NVIDIA. What can NVIDIA bring into the alliance? And we obviously know that NVIDIA, as a AI tech leader, can provide advanced AI hardware and software into this community. Ericsson and Nokia, for instance, come into the alliance with a huge RAN expertise, right? And huge expertise in the architecture and the management, right, of the networks. We have Microsoft that can bring in cloud, AI cloud knowledge and edge computing, ARM as well, which can support with essential CPU core expertise. Samsung, um, with a vast experience and master of vRAN, virtual RAN technology. Then we have the operators, of course. Without them, this wouldn't be we wouldn't be talking about mobile networks, right? So operators like SoftBank and T-Mobile, they can obviously help out with practical testing, with implementation insights. Uh, and then to wrap it up, with the founding members, we have DIPSIC, we have University of Tokyo and Northeastern University that could actually lead with their technology innovation and their research. Um, we have really created from the start a really diverse ecosystem on which we can discuss AI for the radio access network of the future. And if we focus on the general members, actually, we also see a very distinct, very diverse members. We have testing and measurement equipment vendors like Keysight, Rode Schwartz, Viavi as well in the list. We have many research institutions, universities, and so forth. So, so as I already explained, we're trying to create this very diverse ecosystems on which everyone can bring in experience and different views in order to accelerate the AI-RAN innovation. But how is this organized? Um, I already told you I'm part of the technical steering committee, but what is this technical steering committee? We have in the alliance a board of directors. The board of directors obviously oversees the strategy of the alliance, and we have a newly formed marketing steering committee. But it's actually providing the strategic direction and the oversight for the marketing initiatives of the alliance. Then we have this technical steering committee, and I'm vice chair of this technical steering committee. And what the technical steering committee is doing is that the TSC owns the technology roadmap of the alliance and the work plan and the timelines and the targets for for the whole alliance. And then it's obviously working together with the marketing steering committee and the board of directors in discussing strategies and outputs. But at the same time, and then this is a very important point, I think, it should ensure the creation and the setup of labs. I will explain a bit more of what these labs are about in the next slides. But we are trying to really work in practice. So have a hands-on development of use cases and work items. And then we have three areas that are covered by working groups. The first one is the AI for RAN, and I will go into details in the next slide what each of these is trying to cover. AI and RAN and AI on RAN with their respective leadership. I'm also the vice chair of the first working group, AI for RAN. So for this working groups, let us start with working group 1. Working group 1, AI for RAN, is trying to improve the RAN performance. So this is in many ways related to what other bodies have already done and related to their efforts. So we can of course consider this in a very general way of trying to improve performance, for example, by enhancing the spectral efficiency or the energy efficiency and whatnot. And as you might know, these are things that 3GPP, for instance, have discussed. But can we really discuss on ways to practically implement this without really considering a given specification? So that's the first one. The second one is very interesting, and we have had some presentation in this unit before, discussing the infrastructure and the architectures of AI-RAN as well. So the working group 2, AI and RAN, is trying to cover all these aspects. So can we share a same infrastructure between RAN and AI? Can these two workloads coexist in the same infrastructure. There are, of course, many advantages and many ways of seeing this. But in this slide, for instance, can we increase the revenue? Can we actually use our RAN resources for AI application or for AI workloads when the RAN is not being used? Can we accomplish this? Can we enable this? Can we increase actually the platform utilization of our operators? This is something extremely important when we think of networks of the future. And then we have working group 3, and working group 3, called AI on RAN, is actually trying to step on top of RAN and say, what are the requirements that my RAN needs to fulfill in order to run AI-based applications? So it can be seen as twofold. We want to really, in this working group, identify requirements needed in order to enable AI applications, but at the same time, we would like to think and brainstorm of new applications uh, that could actually run on top of this RAN infrastructure. So this is the main idea with the three working groups. But then I didn't only want to introduce the main ideas behind the working groups. I also wanted to um, showcase a bit what the potential use cases or work items could be in each. Just for you to let go your imagination and think what the alliance can actually accomplish. For working group 1, so let us remember this is the one trying to enhance the performance of RAN per se. We could think of air interface optimization. Can we actually think of an AI-based receiver? Can we use AI to predict positioning in an efficient way? Can we predict the channel using AI? Can we use AI for sensing or for extra large MIMO? So those are some examples. Then can we use the AI to, in a way, use our resources or manage our resources in the network in a more intelligent way? Can we increase the energy efficiency? So all this network-centric optimization, these are things that working group 1 can actually cover. Then we go into working group 2. So very interestingly, this one is trying to share the infrastructure between RAN and AI workloads. But can we in a way study means to minimize the impact on the RAN workloads when this is done dynamically? Can we actually create strategies or ways to use AI to have this dynamic resource pooling? And then, of course, when it comes to having this multi-tenant system, we need to consider many aspects that will actually, at the end, allow the proper implementation of these two kind of coexisting technologies. How do we orchestrate the workloads? How do we monitor them? There are many security and privacy issues with it, right? And et cetera, et cetera. And for working group 3, so this is what everyone really, when everyone really starts dreaming of the future. Can we find the requirements that our RANs of the future need in order to enable AI-based video or image processing? What about Gen AI, or XR, VR, and all these other kind of critical applications that we can think of? So this is what the working groups actually can tackle. Then we have, even though we're not a standardization body, we obviously have a strategy and a structure and of course ways to work in all working groups, and for each working group there has been a charter, and I will go a bit more into the timeline in a few slides, but just wanted to mention a few of the things that the working groups are already doing. So we starting analyzing what's out there, conducting surveys and studying the state of the art, and each company is bringing in different perspectives and with different results. That's definitely extremely interesting to see. What are the key challenges and the opportunities that we think of, and then um, as I already explained, we have a diverse community. So the challenges for Ericsson, for instance, are not the same challenges as the ones that Microsoft is dealing with, or actually the opportunities that a research institution or a university is analyzing. So all this discussion is already going on. Number three, we have already captured a work item repository for each working group, and this will be developed in the near future. Number five is extremely interesting as well. So there has been task groups formed that will actually provide the guidelines within the alliance on how to really benchmark what the different companies, different members are working on. And then of course we're having discussion on how we really develop the data description and whether data will be shared with the industry. If so, how will we share it? This can be very tricky, of course. So let's follow up. We have the labs, as I mentioned. We don't want this to be a theoretical work. So the alliance is currently discussing ways to set up labs. There are already 4 proposals on the table, and this has been analyzed. Just to briefly mention what the idea is, we want to really have teams, right, of members working on a given work item, and this to be developed within the alliance. So obviously, members can do this in their own labs closely, but we would obviously would like to see this collaborative environment, kind of like a playground for members to really develop this together, and this can be achieved in hardware labs or software lab, and this will be open for all the members to access and develop their work, their use cases, their work items. And then I have 2 more slides. So for this one, I want to let you know a bit of what we're doing now and where have we been. So the alliance was launched and kicked off in the previous Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, start of 2024, and we ended up, let's say, between that time and the summer, forming up the leadership positions and appointing those, and the work really started in August. And then I have actually captured 2 parts in this timeline. So the upper part is targeting Mobile World Congress next year, and the lower part is actually a long-term track that will continue. So as of September, we had already designated drivers for this charters task, uh, and some projects were announced that will be presented in Mobile World Congress. The alliance will meet. We will have our first meeting in just 2 weeks' time, actually, and we will meet in California. All the working groups, the board, and the committees as well, to discuss strategy and outcome. And then we will obviously like to have some demos in MWC and have some work that actually goes ahead in time. So just to finalize my presentation, I just wanted to emphasize again the 3 main questions that I wanted to answer. So why do we need the alliance? It's because we really need to drive AI-RAN openness. We really need to push for this innovation, and we need to have a real ecosystem of diverse players. What really we're trying to do is we're really trying to bridge the gap between research and practical implementation. And the how is, again, and the most important point, we really want to have a diverse ecosystem and have practicality in mind all the time. So hopefully I have answered this question, and thank you again for your time.
프레젠테이션 유익한 발표해 주신 필리핀님께 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.